Okay, so hello, this is Nadia from She Built Again, and we are actually at a new favorite lunch spot here in Canggu, or Umalas to be exact. And it's called Unibowl. And me and my husband love poke bowls because they're healthy. You get to pick your ingredients. They're both of us like different types of things. He likes raw kind of fish or sushi, and I like more like healthy ingredients, chicken and pumpkin and a whole bunch of vegetables. But we both get to choose what we want, so it's a perfect place for us. Our previous place that we used to go for poke bowls closed down, but this one opened up right around the corner, so we're super happy. But I figured I would just share with you, first of all, the cost of a lunch. And this is one of the cheaper lunches because it can definitely go up to maybe $10, maybe $15 for lunch. But here we can get lunch, a good healthy lunch for $5 US. And so I'll show you exactly what we get in this video. But while I have my husband here with me, I thought we would talk about just our journey with relocating. It was definitely something that was on my heart even before we got married. It was something that I was longing to do. I love to travel, and I knew that, or I felt a pull to not live where we were both from in Bermuda because I felt like it was too small. I wanted more adventures. I wanted a bigger life, a different life. And the kind of small town nature of Bermuda, while community obviously is like a beautiful aspect, having people that are so close to you, I also felt like I needed a little bit of space, a little bit of privacy, a little bit of like freedom to make mistakes and figure out my own way in life, my own path in life. And we've been able to do that as a family, figure out our own traditions, figure out our own direction, what we want from life, what we want from finances and everything. But it was definitely me trying to
Drag
convince
me
him
along.
convince him for a long time. Like even our first year of marriage, I remember there was one point where it was probably a low point in my life because I was like, if I want to travel and if I want to leave, do I have to leave this marriage? Because he was so attached to Bermuda. He had a career there, he had a mortgage there, he had his close family, his brother and his mom, and his other family, his dad and others' family. So, yeah, it was just a journey. So I wanted to chat with Marquez about that because, like I said, it was my desire at first, but he decided to support me in that dream eventually. Do you remember what was the turning point for you? Because I think the turning point happened like maybe at least 5.5 years into our marriage, right? Around 5 years after Zaki was born, our son. Do you remember what was the turning point and why you decided to be open to it and consider it?
I guess the main reason why I was like stuck in Bermuda was because I felt that I had this house that I needed to finish, and I didn't think it was possible to leave because we were doing a lot of the work ourselves on the house. So actually taking me out of this situation was like not even in the equation. And then we started to get to the end, and then COVID hit, and I think that's when we got on the same page, and everybody went to remote working, which was a new thing that I got used to because I had a very like desk-based job. I'm a data analyst, and all of my work was at the computer. It was like, and then like a mirror, like a glass shattering moment, where it's just like, oh, I can actually take this career on the road. I don't actually have to. I could be anywhere in the world doing what I'm doing. And then we went. COVID hit. We were months stuck at home, and it was just said, "Oh, look, you're just a remote worker now, even though you're still in the same country." I started like a second business. We had additional income coming in, which just started to open up the like opportunities for freedom, I think. And then
Yeah. So what he touched on was really a big point because he was still working on his house. He had it with his mom and his brother. He didn't want to bail on them. He didn't want to leave them with the burden of the responsibility, especially while it was still in like a huge stage of construction and renovations. And so it took so many years. And the problem I'd had on my end was that every year they thought they were going to be finished and it just kept dragging out. And so it was like years of my life as well. So from when we started dating in like maybe late 2012 until we got married in 2014, and then we actually moved in 2022. So it was 10 years from dating. I was part of this and I was trying to support his dream and his desire to finish this house, but it just felt like it was robbing me of my life and my future. And so I think it's about a little bit of obviously compromise for sure in any relationship. And I think the good thing about me and my husband's relationship is it's not perfect by any means, but I've always tried my best to support his dream of finishing his house and having this asset with his family. But he's also been very supportive of my dreams. And so like I became an entrepreneur when I was maybe 29 years old, and he supported that dream even though it was like we didn't know what the future held and it was a little bit like up and down, but we thankfully my business was full-time from the first year. There's always ups and downs when it comes to income when you're an entrepreneur, and so some months you're making like $3,000, other months you make $15,000. Like it's just all over the place for me, but he supported that. And like even just my desires to travel at one point while we were married, early in our marriage, I was still grieving the loss of my dad, and we were just going through a lot, and I just needed a break. And so he supported my desire to travel for a couple months. So I went on a solo travel for 3 months. It's actually where I met Flo at Tanmo. I know some of you have followed me from her page, but I went on a 3 months little mini sabbatical after quitting my job as a journalist. And I went to Uganda, I went to South Africa, I went to Israel, and spent some time in the area of like Nazareth, where there's a large Palestinian population. And then I came back to Bermuda. So all that to say, he is someone that I think that's where our strength is. Like we support each other in our dreams, even if it's hard sometimes. And like I said, it didn't happen overnight where he could be in a situation where we could leave, but thankfully over time, like patience is not my strong suit. Like he'll tell you for sure. So it was hard. I had to lean on my faith. I had to pray through it. I had to like really, even sometimes it really broke me to have to stay in it. And it was not just the house, it was a lot of family finances and stress and kind of fighting. And so it was a lot of stress. It was a lot of just toxicity on my mental health. But thankfully, we got through one of our biggest hurdles, which was that. And when we left, the house wasn't 100% done, but it was like 95% done. And so we felt like it was at a place where it didn't need us per se. Like it could get finished without us physically being there. And yeah, it was a really hard call, but I had to leave. Like I had felt like my light had gone out, and thankfully he agreed and we were able to make it. Another thing, sorry, this table is shaking. Another thing I wanted to mention was my husband actually had this, I don't know what you call it, but like he had this big ultimatum. Like what would you call it? It was like
Non-negotiable.
a non-negotiable. So he usually, when I would leave my job and go traveling, I was in my 20s. We didn't have a child. He has a mortgage, so he has a bigger responsibility, more things on his shoulder, more responsibilities. And so he didn't just want to go with a few $1,000 saved in the bank. He wanted to make sure we have this huge safety net of savings. And I had never saved that much before in my entire life. So I was like, that's impossible. But we got through it. Like we actually worked together. And that's where I think I started to realize that things come a lot quicker and easier when we actually like work together versus I want this and he wants this. Yeah.
You told him about your tuna lunches?
Yeah, I did. I did mention my tuna lunches in another video, but like literally, I like was on a deprivation diet, literally, where I just ate half a piece of brown bread with tuna fish and some frozen vegetables every day for lunch for I don't know how long, maybe 6, 9, 12 months. And it was honestly for maybe a year or two, I couldn't eat tuna fish. I couldn't look at tuna fish because I felt like it was like a symbol of like my loud bikes. I felt like it was a symbol of my sacrifice and just like the stress that I had to go through to actually get us to the point where we could leave. And so another thing that we did, and I'll talk about this, the finances in another video, but my husband more so worked on, he had, like he said, multiple jobs, and he took care of a lot of our like big expenses, and I just saved as much as I could. So thankfully together we were able to get it done. So anyways, I'm going to show you what lunch is like here for $5 as part of the rest of this video. And if you have any comments, please let me know. And please don't forget, he's grabbing his lunch. Nice. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and let me know if you have any questions or if you want to hear about anything else in future videos. So thanks so much for joining us. Talk to you soon.
Marcus.
London.